Thank you, everyone. My name is Silvio. It's an implied joke. It's not borders, it's boundaries, but there's no doctors without boundaries, so there's topologists without borders. So I was thinking about doing this in the urban planning section, because the problem that I identified, first of all, was that people thought this was a lot of data. Actually, it was barely enough data. And second, policy making is hard. Getting things done is even harder. So can we get something out of this that could be done by the month of May, in 3 months? And can it be significant, as in like you don't do it just for the sake of it, you're not greenwashing. So that's our problem statement. Can something be done in policy in 3 months based on this data? The additional data set I used is from a study done in 2014, which tried to identify heat islands in local microclimates in Dublin. The gentlemen who did it are there. They provided a methodology in which they classified tiny parcels of Dublin in the form of a grid up to about 0.25 square kilometers into what type of environment they are. And this was good because it saved me the trouble of doing it. But it turns down the line that actually it has some pitfalls. So if I move one more, then we took the data from Aclima and Google, and we assigned each of the data points at 1 second intervals to one of the squares we had classified. So this was the data enrichment process. And it is on in this level of the exercise where we discovered that people who tile a round surface in squares don't know what they're doing. So next time, whenever they do it, they should use hexagons. But I couldn't do it in the time. Really sorry about that. The methodology for this type of data is a dimension reduction process called topological data analysis. It was pretty sexy in 2013. It's mostly used in very high-dimensional, multi-faceted data sets like the air of Dublin. We produce a topological model of it. It's a pretty map. It doesn't mean anything. What you care about is that it has 4 clusters of interest. And these are where we decided to focus, because the question is, can you do something in 3 months in these clusters that will actually help improve the quality of air at ground level in those areas? And you see the areas are pretty big. By the way, that map is a topological map. It's not necessarily overlapping with the Dublin map, so it doesn't look exactly like Dublin. And this is the idea we came up with. Where does pollution go when it goes? I don't know. But some of it can go up, and the higher up you go, the wind is more predictable, more constant. So we were thinking, what if we could actually make the particulate and the bad gases go up? There's good understanding of how buildings influence wind and draft. So if we turn this on its own, we can say that we can build a temporary light structure with which we can influence the microclimate and potentially change the pollution levels at ground level. So there's a whole part of math. I have some renders if you want after. We can use some designs for sails. If you went sailing, maybe you know what a spinnaker is. And we propose a Dublin urban sail that can be tested for about 200,000 euro, and we can actually measure to see if it has an impact and breaks the pollution in those areas. Thank you very much.